Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. If you don't know, I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear, and we are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning. And if you are new to us today, from the very bottom of our hearts to yours, we welcome you. We're so glad that you're here. And so let's start this service today by reading our mission statement that's on the front of your bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's really what we're doing here, is we are creating a sanctuary here, this place where it is safe and loving and supportive and encouraging, so that each one of us might explore our own spiritual nature. So that we have the opportunity to discover that one presence, that one power, that one life of the divine lives itself out throughout this entire universe. You can see it in the trees and the plants and the birds and nature. That same presence lives and expresses and moves through each and every single one of us. By our own nature, when we came to this planet, we came as spiritual beings. And we are living this spiritual life, walking the spiritual path, and the truth is every single thing that happens in your life is part of that path. And as we awaken to the fact that we are spiritual beings, that we are inseparably connected to and one with that presence, that means then what is true of it in the macrocosm is true for us in the microcosm. That if spirit is the very energy of love, then that means that love lives inside of us. If the essence of spirit is peace and harmony and wholeness and goodness, that means that those things already exist and are part of our makeup of who we are. So what happens as we come to recognize that is when we go out into the world, we go out into the world differently. We go out into the world with more care and more kindness, more compassion, more generosity, more love. And as you know, this world is hungry and thirsty for that at this moment in history. So I thank each one of you for walking this path, for saying yes to the call of your own spirit to be bringing your light into the world in a way that makes a difference. Thank you all for that. You know, as human beings, one of the greatest needs that we have in this lifetime is to experience the love inside of ourselves. That means to love other people and to be loved in return, to experience our connection to each other. For when we do any of those things, it activates that love that is innate to our beingness, that love that exists within us. And because we have that need to love, we also then have a need to give and to share. We have a need to gift and to share our love and our joy and the good in our lives and coming from that place of abundance. That's one of the reasons we do outreach programs that we do here. Whether we are filling purses for women that are living at the shelter for Mother's Day, or writing cards to seniors that are living in a care facility, or adopting a family for Christmas, or collecting kitchen items to give to people who are moving into permanent housing. All of those things, we do that because it fulfills a need within us that we have to share from our overflow, to care for others, to extend our hearts, and in turn to extend our hands. We're made like that. And so I think there's two parts to experiencing that love that lives inside of us. I think one of them is sharing from our hearts, and then in turn we feel satisfied from doing that. The other part of the equation is actually us receiving from other people. We need, as human beings, we need to give and we need to receive. I think a hug is like the perfect example of that. When you hug someone, you're giving a hug and you're receiving a hug all at the same time, and it feels so good. It feels so satisfying. The good in the universe flows unimpeded when we give ourselves the freedom to do both with unneeded restrictions, to both give and to receive openly. So today I'm actually talking about the law of circulation, which is a law that we live in. For it is the nature of life to give. You see the abundance when you look out there of trees and plants and seeds to make more and animals having babies and I don't even know the number of grains of sand on a beach. The nature of life is abundance. And so if we aren't experiencing abundance of some sort in our lives, we are the ones that are blocking the flow. The gift has already been given. We have to be open to receive that gift. And I know, so for some of us, it is easier to give, and for others, receiving is easier for them. But life requires that we do both. So the problem is really when we close ourselves off to either one of those, to giving or receiving. Because when we close ourselves off to giving, then we aren't actually as open to receive. And when we close ourselves off from receiving, it's as if we're pushing the good away in our lives, and then we don't have that same fullness from which to give from. When we aren't accepting, what's happening too is that we are sending a vibration of resistance out there, resistance to the good of the universe. That then impedes the flow of the good of all sorts into our lives. We live in a law of circulation. I think a tree is such a perfect example. The tree takes up moisture and nutrients from the roots and sends out its leaves. It takes in carbon dioxide and sends out oxygen for people and all the animals. And then it drops its leaves, which become nutrients for the tree and nutrients for all the other plants that are growing around it. It's such a perfect example of receiving and giving. It's this flow that happens. And so when we are open to both giving and receiving, we experience life's greatest fulfillment when we are in that kind of a space. We experience our greatest joy, and we have our greatest sense of freedom. Freedom to just give and receive in easy flow. And some of us aren't very good at receiving. One reason, because we think we don't deserve. Or we think that we can't ask somebody for something because it would just be, we would be being too much trouble, so we don't ask. But what happens when we do that is we end up putting energetic walls up around ourselves and around our hearts so that the other good of life can't get in so easily because we're being resistant. And some of us find it harder to give than to receive. And usually, if we find it hard to give, it's for several different reasons. One is that we believe there isn't enough of whatever it is for us to give it, or we believe that we don't have enough of whatever it is to give. Even sometimes when we do, it's not a fact that we don't have enough, it's in our thinking that we don't have enough. And it makes me think of during the fires that recently happened, how chefs made food and fed thousands of people, cooked for them, and gave them food for free out of a consciousness of love and care and abundance. And I think it's really shocking that I have heard stories that this has happened, that homeless people have been given like a whole bread loaf of sandwiches that are already made. What do? They take them and share them. They give them away to other people. They don't hoard them and hold on to them. So it's really not about a number, it's really about a mindset. It's really about an attitude. It's about, I think, for one, acknowledging that we are supported by life. That we are supported by life to thrive and to be successful and to flourish. That's what life intends for each of us, and that's what life supports for each of us. We are sourced by an infinite creative intelligence that is at the center of everything. That intelligence that acts as migratory impulses within birds to migrate is the same intelligence within us and within our lives that guides us and directs us into our greatest lives, into a life of abundance, a life of freedom, a life of joy. It is the source of the good in our lives. The things that show up in our lives, how we get the good, are the resources. Your job is a resource. It's like the sun is the source of the light, and then it reflects off a glass top table. The glass top table is the resource from the source. So your friends are resources of love. Your job or your Social Security or your investments are a resource for the abundance, a financial abundance in your life. Those are resources. Spirit within you and within your life is the source of your good. It leads you and guides you into perfect opportunities. It orchestrates things in the world so that things fall in line and you can bring your desires into fruition. It's the thing that makes it happen, but the resource is how it shows up in your life. And all of that happens according to your beliefs and according to your openness. And so, those are reasons that we don't give, right? That we think there's not enough, that we think we don't deserve. And then there's another reason that sometimes we don't give, of whatever it is, whether it's our friendship or our care or our money or anything that we give. And the third reason that we don't give is because we sometimes think they don't deserve it. But you know what? What if giving is for us? What if the giving is for us? And it's really not about the recipient at all. And if it's not about the recipient, it's about us, then it isn't about deserving or not deserving. And so I'd like to share this with you. The Dead Sea is a salt lake located between Israel and Jordan, famous for having the lowest land elevation on earth, more than 1,400 feet below sea level. It stretches approximately 47 miles in length and reaches a maximum width of about 10 miles and is over 1,000 feet deep in its deepest sections. The lake is fed primarily by the Jordan River, yet it has no outlet. No rivers carry away its water. This lack of an outlet explains its extraordinary salinity. Rivers flow into the Dead Sea, carrying dissolved minerals and salts that are washed from surrounding rocks and soil. Because the water leaves the lake only through evaporation, not through drainage, the water evaporates while the salts remain. Over 1,000 years, these minerals have accumulated, making the Dead Sea about 6 times saltier than the ocean. The result is an environment so saline that it cannot support fish or aquatic life. Fish carried into the lake by the Jordan River die quickly due to osmotic shock, hence the name the Dead Sea. There is no outlet. There is no circulation. I have also read that very near the Dead Sea is the Sea of Galilee. And there are people, families picnicking around the lake, and people playing, children playing and laughing and fishing, and people going in the water. And the Dead Sea has none of that. There is no life around it because it's dead, because it has no givingness from itself. Our giving of anything keeps us in the flow of the good of life. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this philosophy, said, "Freely ye have received, freely give." When the law of circulation is retarded, stagnation results. It is only as we allow the divine current to flow through us on out that we really express life. The law of giving and receiving is definite. So giving can be giving our time, it can be giving our support, it can be giving our money to something that is doing good works in the world. It can be sharing our talents or our attention to someone who needs it, or helping someone in need. All of those are forms of giving. There are millions of ways that we can give in the world. The only requirement to our giving, so that we place ourselves in the flow, is that we do it without strings attached. It's not tit for tat. It's not trading. You paying your bills or shopping is not giving. It's trading. So giving is just to give, to support, to care, to love, to nourish. That is why we give, not to get anything in return. So the title of this talk today is Take One and Pass It Around. And I'm talking about in our openness, both to give and to receive, that we experience the greatest joy. In our openness to both give and receive, we experience more love, more connection with others, more connection with our own spiritual nature, and in turn, we feel fulfilled, heart and spirit. There's a story that says, long ago, there lived a baker who one day happened to bake an unusually beautiful loaf of bread, so beautiful and so perfect that it seemed to come from the hand of God. Rather than sell it, the baker decided to take the bread to the synagogue as an offering to the divine who made such a perfect loaf of bread possible. Alone in the sanctuary, the baker opened the sacred ark and gently placed the loaf of bread inside. He prayed for Spirit to accept his offering, and then he departed. A little later, a hungry beggar was passing by the synagogue and entered and made his way into the sanctuary. Kneeling before the ark, he prayed, trusting that God would provide a meal for him. He opened the ark, and there, lo and behold, was a beautiful loaf of bread. Murmuring a prayer of thanks, the beggar lifted the bread and hurried from the synagogue. The next day, the baker, wondering whether his offering had been accepted, returned to the synagogue, opened the ark, and saw that the bread was gone. His heart leaped with joy, and he resolved to make a new offering every single week. As it happened, when the baker placed a loaf of bread, placed a new offering in the ark, the beggar found himself hungry and would enter the sanctuary to pray. Time and time again, when opened the ark, he would find a new loaf of bread. Both men, for different reasons, felt that their prayers had been answered. If we want to increase our experience of abundance, whether it's friends, whether it's opportunities, whether it's money, whether it's love, our job then is to look at where we are clogging the flow, Where are we stopping that from flowing freely in our lives? Are you believing that there isn't enough? That there isn't enough to go around, or there isn't enough to share, or you don't have enough? If you are holding on to the belief that there isn't enough, then it's time to do some work in consciousness, to shift the way that you're seeing life, to shift the way that you're seeing your own life. To recognize, one of the things that helps us shift that is to recognize that there is an infinite abundance in this universe. That there is an infinite abundance to life. Life isn't stagnant. Life doesn't have a place where it stops. It isn't obstructed. Life just gives of itself to everything and everyone on this planet. That's its nature. Its nature is to give. So our job is to remind ourselves of the givingness of this universe, the givingness of life itself. Because the truth is, your life is the life of the divine. There is no other life to live. There is only one life, and we are living it. Life is filled with boundless potential. It is filled with creativity. The wisdom of the divine is the thing that leads you into the fulfillment of your desires. Inside, listening in here. Shifting your thinking from scarcity to the spiritual truth opens a way for the opulence of the universe to flow into you and into your life. 2, if you want to increase your abundance of anything, look at where you are blocking the flow because you aren't open to receive. Affirm your deservability. Affirm your worth. Ask for help. Accept help from someone else. Accept the gift. Accept the compliment without brushing it off. Oh, you don't mean that. Let your friend take you to lunch. Open yourself to receive. And number 3, if you want to have greater abundance in your life, look at where you're holding tight. Look at where you're obstructing the flow, where you're squeezing the hose. In the Christian Bible, in Luke, it says, there we go, Luke 6:38, give and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, running over. Give and it will be given to you. Our giving opens that tight-fisted hold that we have on the good. Give your time or your talent or your treasure to somebody, somewhere that needs it, that will appreciate it, that it will cause them to thrive. Some place where it will benefit someone. Give a compliment, give a donation, volunteer somewhere that speaks to your heart. Edward Viljoen, who is my favorite minister from Centers for Spiritual Living, said, giving is God's nature. When I'm giving, I'm duplicating the nature in my activity. And when I'm not, it's as if I'm going against my own nature. And that's when it gets all blocked up and stagnant. Giving is our nature as spiritual beings. Fear is the only thing that stops us. And your fear is about something that isn't true. And so I have homework for you this week. Homework number 1 is I want you every day to participate in some positive gossip. That means if you live with someone, when you go home at night, you share something, or if you're not in a relationship or live by yourself, with someone you talk to that day, share something with them that somebody did that day that was good. Participate in positive gossip every single day. Number 2, give something away. Bake cookies for someone. Go through your things and give something to the thrift store, or there are tons of platforms like Good Stuff Long Beach or Free Stuff Long Beach that you can give things away for free. Give something away. Give a gift to somebody. Give a compliment to somebody. That opens a way for the outflow so that there can be an inflow. Give an authentic compliment to someone. And accept someone's help. Accept someone's assistance. Accept the gift with gratitude. Accept the compliment with an open heart. And the last one is to live in the awareness of your immediate connection with that infinite presence. Your immediate connection with that infinite creative force of the cosmos that brings everything into fruition. Know that it is present everywhere that you are, and it is present in everyone on this planet. Allow yourself to be a conduit for good, so that the good can flow into you and out of you and back into you and back out of you. Be part of that circle. For it's really just two sides of the same coin, and it's two spots on the same circle. And as you do that, you will be experiencing greater joy and a greater sense of connection with other people and with the infinite giver of life, having greater freedom and experiencing the love within yourself to a greater degree. And so blessings to every single one of you as you walk this path of discovering your own spirit, of giving way to your spirit in this world in a way that benefits everyone and everything. And blessings on this path of awakening. And so I invite you again to join me in an affirmative prayer as we take our attention and put it on the truth that there is this omnipresent spirit, this one that is in and through and around everything, that is a presence, that is the very essence of absolute intelligence. The intelligence out of which the cosmos were created is the intelligence of spirit, in and through everything. That presence that is the very essence of love is right here, right now, everywhere we go, in everything we do, in every person we see, even when we don't see it. The love of the divine is still present right there. I recognize that this presence is a presence of infinite and boundless good, forever giving of itself, unfolding itself in this world. And so right now, we just open ourselves to that truth, knowing that this is the truth we knew before we came here. And today, we just lean into that truth so that we might recognize it and know it and live it and experience it. And so I claim also that we are each guided, we are each directed into our lives of the greatest fulfillment, of our greatest thriving, lives of success, of sharing ourselves with the world, and in turn of being filled up by spirit and filled up by all of the good that comes through humanity. And so I speak this word also about every single one of our world leaders and our politicians, decision makers, recognizing that love is the power. Love is right where they are. The intelligence of the cosmos lives within them, and that it leads and guides humanity right here and right now. And so I just open my heart, I open my soul, I open my spirit to this truth and allow it to be the thing that carries me and buoys me this week. The one power, the one life, the one beingness, everywhere present. And so I just rest there. And so I release this prayer into that law of reflection, knowing that it is being reflected everywhere. For we open ourselves and say yes to this. And I release this prayer and I say, and so it is. And so I have a couple of invitations for you as a way to participate in this family. One is January 25th, which I think is not next week, but I think it's the week after. We are doing our Sunday service at the clubhouse at Bixby Village. The address is on your white sheet. We're going to do service, and then we're going to have a pizza party afterwards. And pizza! Living Beyond Limits is going to buy pizza for everyone. We're going to have a pizza party and play games and goof around and stuff. So we invite you to do that. On February 22nd, we are having our annual meeting. That is our business meeting. So we really encourage everyone who is a member to be here. And even if you're not a member, we'd still love to have you there. We'd love to hear what your ideas are, what you would like to see happen in the next year, as far as classes, as far as outreach that we do, as far as in-reach that we do. And then if you're a member, that we are going to vote on a budget to pass a budget for this coming year. So we'd like everyone's participation in that. Also, we don't have a sign-up sheet yet, but that day we're going to have soup, salad, and bread, potluck, and so we'll set up tables and get to do that for the annual meeting. Our talks are available on our YouTube channel and on our website. We invite you to check in on Meetup and say you're coming. We invite you to like us on Facebook. The talks get posted on Facebook also, to share them with people you think might benefit from what we're talking about here, and to follow us on Instagram. We have prayer support after service. If you are a practitioner in this room, will you raise your hand? Practitioners are happy to sit down and do a prayer with you if you would like prayer for something. We have a Ministry of Prayer box. If you would fill out a request, we will support you during the week in prayer. We have prayer shawls that you are invited to take with you if you want to gift someone or yourself with the shawl that has been created in that energy of prayer. The practitioners will pray over it with you for your desired outcome, and then you can take that and wrap yourself or somebody else in that energy of prayer. And so I invite you to repeat after me, good fills my life now.
Good fills my life now.
I recognize it. I savor it. I love it. And I live it. And so it is.